you guys want to learn a little bit about what's going to be popping in Web3, we're going to be talking about that today and dive into a lot of the gaming news and also some of the projects that could be really getting steam. So make sure and stick around for this one. It's going to be a good one. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, and that is Tangem. And this is a self-custody wallet that I think is one of the most unique out there. At first, it uses a set of cards and an app in tandem, and it's really slick. It's a great way to actually kind of go into your whole process of getting into self-custody. If you haven't tried self-custody, controlling your own tokens is kind of the ultimate freedom, and this is a great way to start. So just go over to their website, click on that Get Tangem right there. You're going to see the 3-card set and the 2-card set. Get the 3-card set. You can get the white card, by the way, now. It's available. And do that because you've always got a backup. And, of course, use our link down below. It does help the channel out. All right, let's get into a couple of topics. I want to go to this first clip. This, of course, is John Wu from Avalanche. And he talks a little bit here on Nasdaq about the future, not only what Avalanche is doing, but maybe where some key plays are starting to come into consideration. Listen in.
So I know everyone is discussing how much new incremental demand will be created from the institution side on the asset class from BTC spot ETF. But I think 2024 will ultimately shape up as a year where the world sees real use cases from business use cases and adoption.
It's great to meet clients where they are, but I agree with John. This is just one thing that we're doing, one thing that the industry's doing. And it's a nice moment, but we don't need to spend too much time on it.
Right. They're going to be investing in companies that are going to be bringing more transactions on chain. And that's going to be a net benefit to the long-term health of any of the crypto assets.
Tokenization of real assets means many, many things. Not just financial assets, but loyalty points and other things that are non-financial. But the real benefit, I think, is going to come in almost a year from now. The first thing that's going to happen is tokenization of non-financial assets. You know, we're working with gaming companies. A big part of gaming companies is creating in-game asset marketplaces, but each game is siloed. So if you can like bundle different marketplaces to different games, it gives the user a better experience. It's almost like a shopping mall. You know, bundling businesses actually is a principle that's worked for a long time. It's no longer, NFTs are no longer going to be associated with just cartoons. It's going to be associated with engaging with their customers. You know, I was with, so it's, for example, it'd be like someone, a big brand was saying, as soon as the Barbie doll leaves the Walmart shop, they lose full engagement with that customer. So they're trying to create a Fi Digital product where, you know, there's an NFT associated with that Barbie, and they can now know when they're going to see the movie Barbie. And ultimately, it'll save them a lot of money because they don't have to reacquire the customer through Google or Facebook because they're already engaging with their customers. So literally will affect their income statement in a very positive way.
All right, and we'll leave it on a positive note.
All right, so John hit on a lot of things there. He's been on our show many times. We've talked about the vision of where Avalanche is going, and we get into Avalanche gaming quite a bit, and I agree with him. I think this is going to be the year that we do see gaming connections, but also this idea of potentially connecting real-world brands and real-world customers outside the four walls. And this is a problem that has existed in retail and in business forever. So he is right. Acquisition of a customer happens in many cases, and a lot of times it has to be redone. That's a big deal. So it's one that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Now, when you look at the subnet over on Avalanche, this is just a quick look at what's causing the transaction growth right here. The blue line is the overall transactions on the entire all subnets. But when you look at this lighter blue line, this is Pulsar. This is one game. One game. We had the Pulsar team on talking about this. And the innovation that's happening in that is a big deal, I think, for Avalanche, but it also paves the way for a lot of future games in terms of subnets and the architecture that Avalanche is going to put forth out there. So it's a big deal. I think we're going to see a lot more of it. Further into this course right here was Pulsar talking a little bit further about miner media. This, of course, is when you can go out and get some additional tokens on their extraction boost. So this was a thing that they were kind of talking about in the previous video that we did with them. If you didn't catch that, make sure and go back and look at that video, learn a little bit more about Pulsar. It's going to be a one to watch for sure. All right, so let's move on to Solana and some of the things that are happening within the ecosystem there. We'll talk about some airdrops and all that good stuff, but I want to go to this first clip. This is talking about the Solana token extensions. Take a listen.
What exactly are token extensions? You can think of them as a series of options, features, and capabilities built into the newest iteration of the Solana token program. Token issuers, from game developers to stablecoin issuers, can choose to enable any combination of token extensions.
The non-transferable token extension has been a long-requested feature by developers. While it was previously possible to freeze a token, it couldn't be destroyed. But a non-transferable token can be. The metadata pointer extension allows full programmatic customization of metadata for that token, perfect for games or new asset classes.
Token extensions offer native solutions that eliminate the need to patch smart contracts and disparate protocols together. Now, everything you need is right there in the token itself.
So this is new on Solana, one of the most recent updates with Solana. This is a very big deal around what the future of NFTs, but also within the architecture of Solana itself is going to change in use cases around smart contracts. So pretty big advancements. And I think this, again, this is something being done that I think a lot of chains would like to do, but have not been able to get there. And Solana, of course, kind of rolls it out a little bit under the radar. So make sure and check out more on that. I want to continue on to some of the games that are riding on Solana. And one of them, of course, is Honeyland. Honeyland, we've had the team on before. We've really dove into it. I don't know if you've ever played the game. It has some very uniqueness around it. First of all, graphics are great on it. They do a good job with onboarding. It is available on iOS and Android. And they have an event coming up, their 2024 Vision Keynote, that's happening. I have a feeling that we are going to see some big things in this keynote. So if you're not already set up for it, it's live in 4 days, I would watch on this. And HXD is the token. So if you're not already kind of tracking this, this has already started to make a run. And if you've probably watched our channel, you probably already knew about this. But the point is we're getting ready to see, I think, some very interesting things with Honeyland. I want to go to this next clip, which was the Honeyland CEO talking about kind of the future of where they're going. Listen in.
So mark your calendars for next Tuesday, January 30th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. That will be our 2024 Vision Keynote. I'll be delivering it. It will be a live event, so you'll be able to catch it either on YouTube or on our Twitter feed. Everything that we have set forth to accomplish and conquer this year to truly make Honeyland one of the greatest Web3 games on the planet. It'll be impossible to talk about Web3 gaming and mobile Web3 gaming without talking about Honeyland. That's our goal for this year. I think we have the plan and the ability to execute against it.
The CEO is always so excited. I mean, he's a great interview too. He's, like I said, he's been on our show. Check that video out. It's a good one to watch if you really are interested in Web3 gaming, because he's got a lot of innovation and thoughts of where this is going. I think we're getting ready to see some big news here. I want to jump to the Solana airdrop tracker that's out there and take a look at what's coming. If you look at, I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit here if I can, and then we'll show you guys what's coming up. You got Magic Eden happening. This is on high buzz alert. And then, of course, Parcel 1 we're watching for sure. If you guys have not checked that out, make sure and take a look there. Others to watch in there. Let's go further on down. Oh, there's TipLink. TipLink is a big one. These are all coming on Solana. So just be aware. There's Teleport. This one is going to be huge. I think Teleport could be one of the breakouts for later this year and definitely in 2025. All right, so here's Jupiter. They did sponsor Solana Mobile, so I can imagine there may be some drops here for leaderboard members and also maybe some other Saga phone holders. So just be on the lookout for that. Other topics, of course, this is the leaderboard announcement that they had up. Solana, and of course, this is what everybody's kind of watching, but Helium is now a sponsor of this as well. So very interesting how we're starting to get these companies working together. We've talked about that before. That's what makes Solana such a unique platform. And then here's Solana Mobile, 15,000 referrals from across the globe. Leaderboard is shaping up. We're on that leaderboard right now, so make sure and use our link down below. We'll leave one if you're not already getting the chapter 2. This is a piece of history because we are already seeing the Genesis token and what its benefits are in the current Saga phone. Remember, this Saga phone, the original, went out on eBay for as high as $5,000. This was a $500 phone. And then you had all the airdrops that came with it, everything from Bonk and what we'll see in the future around this. And it's, as I've said in the video that we talked about the Solana phone, is that this is maybe the next generation of how hardware is going to be delivered in terms of brand value and connection over there. So check it out. We'll leave a link down below on that. All right, so I want to go into another clip, and this, of course, is the Claynosaurz Town Hall. Remember, Claynosaurz, part of the airdrops that went into the Saga phone, so another big benefit. But anyway, let's jump over to the clip real quick.
These videos have resulted in over 37 million views, and all of that has led us to growing our following on Instagram from 900 followers to crossing 99,000 followers this morning, about 2 months later.
Basically, the digital companion is a native application that we are building, and that application sits in the center of the Claynosaurz ecosystem. And within the digital companion, you have like multiple, gamified loops. On the other side of the spectrum, you have obviously the quest system and resource, raw items, and basically it's the foundation of the crafting system. So you will be able to customize the armor, obviously, of your Clayno, but also like apply to it different pose and emotes. We want to give you tools that basically lets you create content on social with your own dinosaur and basically get rewarded for the content that you produce.
All right, so that's a very innovative way of creating not only brand stickiness within, a digital ecosystem on social, but also giving the users and the owners of Claynosaurz the ability to earn revenue. So first of all, creative, very social oriented, and also content creation at the same time. So it does all the markers of what you need to really get a brand to go viral. Now, even though it's 100,000 on Instagram, from where they were, I have a feeling this one is going to really take off in a big way. Let me know if you guys, in fact, are actually a Claynosaurz holder. Did you get in early? Were you able to get one of those little dinos? And what are you going to do with it? Let me know. Drop some comments down below. All right, so let's get into Flow. Flow is another project. Of course, if you're not already aware, this is another token we like and watch quite a bit. They have finally connected over here. This is what Crescendo is, connecting over to Ethereum. This will make a huge benefit of all of the different projects that are riding inside Flow. Additionally, if you go over and look at their EVM on Flow, you'll start to see some of the things that you can do that you can't do in traditional Layer 2. So this is another big benefit, I think, going forward. So keep an eye on Flow. I want to go to this next clip, though. And the next clip is really where we get into a little bit more around how Flow is working with things like Dapper Labs. Listen in.
Welcome to Fast Break, the latest game by Dapper Labs. Today I'm going to be selecting a lineup for the games that start at 4 p.m. Pacific time tonight. And I am using my game assets, my Top Shot moments, to create teams to compete in this run leaderboard. I'm going to submit my lineup. My lineup's ready and it will score as the games are playing. So right now, the V1 version of the contract is deployed on Testnet and will probably be deployed on mainnet as this video is delivered. But one of the many powerful things about blockchain is we can open up this game to third parties. We can open up this game to individuals. We can open up this game to people that want to play Fast Break but don't want to have an account on Top Shot. And so when people mint tokens for the game and the game is updated, we will be pushing millions of transactions through Flow. And when we launch, we'll have 10 to 20,000 daily active users, which will make the game one of the largest games that's being played in Web3.
All right, so that's good advancements. Since it is a protocol, it's going to have the ability to really kind of go in a lot of different directions, and they even mentioned it there in that video. Further into Flow, if you go into Flow Diver, you'll see quickly this is one of the more active blockchains out there with 1.8 million active accounts, up 56%. So again, more reasons to look at Flow long term, the way that they've been able to construct this, especially with what they've been able to do with Crescendo. So a lot happening with Flow, so keeping an eye on that. Let's go to our next clip. This is getting to a little bit more of in-game trading on Flow. Again, take a look.
The Evaluate SDK brings that same MMO-style item trading and messaging to other blockchain platforms on Flow. So if I head to this website that I created, so if users hit trade, they'll directly see an interface where they can see users they've had conversations with, and they're able to, whether it's chat with the other user or build trades, execute trades securely, all in the place where you collect your NFTs without ever having to go to a third party. You can also integrate the SDK in games. So here in our demo game, we have two players that are looking to trade with each other. One player will click the other player and select the trade button. And once that's done, the other player is invited to trade with that person. And upon that invitation being accepted, we'll pull up a trade window. One thing I'll mention is that this entire window can be styled to match your game's UI elements. So it'll fit seamlessly into your game, matching the fonts and colors of your game UI. Players won't see other NFTs in their wallet unless you want them to. On the left, you can see a progress bar in terms of creating the contract for the player to sign. It'll confirm on chain with a progress bar here. And once that's completed, the items will swap. Pretty soon, we'll be announcing a partnership to bring trading to a major Dapper Labs IP.
All right, so you can see this is a new SDK. The key thing here is it creates kind of these new ecosystems that I think will be somewhat competitive to what we've seen in the open markets around things like OpenSea, et cetera. So think about this as a brand. Think about this as any kind of business out there in terms of keeping your community in one place. So there's a lot of opportunities here, I think, going forward. All right, so let's jump over to RARI Chain. This is now live on mainnet, so royalties now are enforced. So this is one of the big rubs that we see within the creator community, and I think it's also one of the reasons that we're continuing to see a lot of advancements on this. If you guys haven't visited Rarible, go over and do that. Of course, you'll see some of the top, collectibles out there, everything from Mochaverse to even McFarlane's, so quite a bit. So this is another one that also has potential of going vertical during this last little bit. Now, we can't really do a game wrap-up without talking a little bit about Palworld, and if you guys were not aware of it, just Google that. Maybe you're already out there playing this on Xbox. But Palworld has done something pretty amazing. I want to look at this statement. Its current player count growth rate, it will have been played by every human on Earth at hour 267 of its distribution, based on what its growth rate was. Because look at this upswing that we've got here in terms of the Palworld players. This is one of the most viral games that is, it may actually be the most viral game that's ever hit the gaming industry. And with this, it has a lot of similarities to a Web3 game you guys will know and recognize, that being Illuvium. So I think this is something that a lot of people have really kind of looked at and said, why? Why would this not be able to, why did Illuvium maybe not be able to get to that level? You look at a little bit more about what they're talking about in terms of its ranking. Here's Palworld actually overcoming League of Legends and even Grand Theft Auto. This is a big deal for a small game studio with a very limited budget and what they were able to do. It kind of shows to the rest of the gaming world that there can be some big hits here. And I think you just have to pay attention to those things. Speaking of Illuvium, let's go into why and what we thought about Illuvium. We had Grant on, one of the, I think, co-founders and definitely the tech lead for Illuvium, not too long ago. Listen to what he had to say. With that kind of line list of stuff, is there some things that you guys are working on right now to address these issues?
Every single one of those things on the list.
All right, so what you see there is a huge learning curve for mainstream Pokemon audience. That was one of our main things that we kind of hit on. This was talked about before Palworld released. And it was literally the thing that we asked Grant directly. And he saw that list, needs more battle modes. There was quite a bit here that was already tied into the potential of what maybe other games could do. And then after that interview, some things happened. Right here is what happened. Grant left Illuvium, and one of the things he stated here, hey, this wouldn't be happening if I wasn't sure the team was sorted. And for those mentioning, damn Palworld, go check my recent messages on the topic. This is clearly a problem because it looks as though Palworld has done something that Illuvium should have done. So this is a big issue right here. Kieran, of course, comes back and says, hey, I've played Palworld. It's incredibly fun, but it doesn't give me that same feeling that Pokemon did of wanting to collect and understand everything about the creatures. That's a little bit thirsty, I think. And don't get me wrong, Kieran, you're probably watching this right now. Point is that Illuvium has, I think, has the capability of doing those kind of things. They just have never been able to make the leap. That's the problem we see. All right, so let's jump over to Sandbox right here. Here's a new idea for Game Maker tutorial exploring the ability to hire your own crew who can follow and protect you. This concept has potential to expand into some bigger, such as owning creatures, level up the creatures, accompany you for adventures, robots, etc. All that's available or could be done in Sandbox right now. So Sandbox could take some of the things that have happened, from a gameplay theory of what's going on with Palworld and be able to implement this right there in Sandbox. So pretty cool stuff right now. As you can see, there's a lot happening in the Web3 gaming sector, and that's why you cannot sleep on it right now. This is going to be one of the hottest things. We went back to the first clip in the video today. John Wu, Avalanche lead president of Ava Labs, he understands this. And I think this is something that many brands are going to start to connect the dots here and really start to make some major advancements into gaming, interaction with big brands, but also a lot of these Web3 games starting to make their way out into mainstream. So stick around for all of that. We're going to be doing more on this, give you guys a full update. If you're not in the Diamond Circle, make sure and get in now. It's another great place to get content. We still have our Web3 gaming podcast that's over there done by Kyle. He does a great job. So if you want to get the news rundown, make sure and subscribe. You'll get that over there. And of course, if you want to catch me on X, it's just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.